This week, 3 legendary RPGs have begun to tease plans to celebrate their milestone anniversaries. We recap Nintendo's 2025, and we reveal our favorite games of the year. We'll talk all about that and more because this is Podcasting with Power. Welcome to Podcasting with Power, your weekly source for Nintendo and video game news, reviews, and deep dive discussions. I'm Zachary Davis, and on the screen next to me there is Jordan Carlson. And hey, if you enjoy what we do, help us grow by tapping the subscribe button, leaving a comment, or following us on social media at Pod with Power. All the links you need will be in the description of this episode. Jordan, how are you doing? It is a new year.
Yeah.
I haven't seen you now in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
How's it going?
Yeah. Oh, man, it's going good. It's going pretty good. Bringing in the new year in a nice little way. Yeah, I can't complain. I mean, had a little bit of a break off work, so that's always really nice.
Good, good.
What about you?
Yeah, I had a nice little break as well. Got to spend a lot of time gaming, which we will talk about in a bit. This is normally what I tell you what I've been playing since we last met, but I'm not going to do that because I think that is better saved for later in the show.
Okay.
But yeah, I definitely did a lot of gaming, and I'm glad I did. But yeah, hopefully that was relaxing for you.
Yeah.
So we've been away a little bit, but I've only got 5 Nintendo news stories for you.
Okay.
We're going to get to, of course, our Nintendo 2025 recap, our game of the year, some other distinctions and awards we can give out. But your 5 Nintendo news stories this week begin like this. And there's a theme. There's a theme here to the stories. They're all kind of similar for the most part. And you'll notice a lot of them do come from the same place because I just felt like they were written the best. So that's how it goes. Thanks, Liam.
Yeah. Okay.
Story number 1. Pokemon kicks off its 30th anniversary celebrations with an animated logo reveal. This is by Liam Doolin at Nintendo Life. And I see you've left a little note here. Fat Pikachu. Love that. We're going to have him front and center on the screen. It's a new year, and the video game industry is already gearing up for some absolutely huge celebrations. The monster-catching powerhouse Pokemon will celebrate 30 years on the 27th of February 2026 and to kick off this special occasion, the Pokemon Company has now shared its animated logo for the 30th anniversary. It shows Pikachu through the years and highlights how the series began in 1996. The attached message from the official Pokemon account also mentioned how it started with the release of Pokemon Red and Green in Japan, or Pokemon Red and Blue here in the States and other parts of the world. This follows news that McDonald's is going to be doing another Pokemon trading card game promo pretty soon. It looks like, nothing confirmed yet, but it does look like that will run from February to March. What do you think? Pokemon is taking this anniversary seriously, it sounds like. They made a logo. They brought back Fat Pikachu. Are you excited?
I am very excited. This is probably the most exciting Pokemon news we've had in a long time.
I know there was something about seeing that and seeing, the kind of the evolution of Pikachu and Pokemon, the evolution of that over the years that it really got me. I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Like,
oh my God.
They know what they've got here. And I think they're gonna make the most of it.
We've talked about that older art style.
Yeah.
So like seeing that, I was like, no fucking way, dude. Like, yeah, I'm stoked. I'm really excited to see what happens with this.
Yeah. And I mean, you predicted that the classics were going to be a big part of how they celebrate this year. They're going to come back in some form. And I mean, this logo certainly doesn't disprove that. I think it kind of leans into it.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope you're right, because I would love to play some of those little games again.
Big.
But all right, in the same vein, here's story number 2. Dragon Quest 40th anniversary logo revealed. Expect, quote, various announcements. This is also by Liam Doolin at Nintendo Life. 2026 is a big year for video game anniversaries, and one of the many celebrations already getting underway is for the Dragon Quest series. This year, the long-running role-playing series will turn 40 years old. To kick things off, Square Enix and its official Dragon Quest social accounts have now shared a look at the official anniversary logo. Of course, it features the well-known and recurring slime monster, and also displays the date 1986, which lines up with the release of the original Dragon Quest title on the Famicom. The attached message reads like this: Happy New Year, Dragon Questers. This year marks the 40th anniversary of #DragonQuest. Please look forward to various announcements in celebration of the anniversary. Thank you for your continued support. One game due out next month is Dragon Quest VII Reimagined for the Switch and Switch 2, and it follows last year's release of Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD Remake. So I know you, of course, recently have dabbled in some Dragon Quest. I know you're a big fan of that 3 HD remake. You're a slut for the HD 2D, as you've said before.
Yes.
What do you think? We already know a Dragon Quest project is on the way and coming soon. But it sounds like they're doing some more with that. That kind of sounds exciting.
It is definitely exciting. I had to give it a Google here so I could remember, because I remember 7 when they announced it and feeling like I wasn't sure. Now I'm looking back at the photos again.
Yeah.
Not as huge of a fan of the art style with this, but
I recall.
But I mean, it's cool they're doing it. Everything they have done up until now has been very cool. So I mean, it is very nice to see that, they're taking the anniversary seriously and doing a lot to give back to the fans. I think that's awesome. Especially because, I mean, Dragon Quest has been around for a long time, obviously 40 years. Yeah. But I mean, the support for Dragon Quest 2, it's not like it's been lost. I mean, like we've always had things kind of here and there. And yes, it's been around. So it's cool to see. I feel like we've seen so much with this game over the last couple of years that it's just cool to see. And it makes me wonder sometimes why we don't have this kind of support elsewhere. But, it's good. It's cool to see.
Yeah. At the time, when people are finally listening and watching this, there will be a Dragon Quest VII demo that will be out. Your progress will carry over, all that good stuff that Square likes to do. But yeah, I'm kind of hoping we get a new game announcement. Is it finally going to be time for Dragon Quest 12? It's been a long time since 11. It's been got to be like a decade. I don't know. I think we can get something pretty substantial here.
Such a good time remaking all the old games,
I know. But not the ones that, I want to play. There's not a great way to access some of these old ones. Like 1, 2, and 3, of course, are on the Switch, and now they've been remade on the Switch in HD 2D, which is cool. 7 is getting this reimagining. But 4, 5, 6, 8, who do we appreciate? Where are these? Hey, I don't know. Just give me straight ports of them. And while we're at it, Chrono Trigger. I know it's not exactly Dragon Quest, but hey, we want that.
Let's go.
Okay, here's another anniversary for you. Story number 3. Atlas opens Persona 30th anniversary website. This is also by Liam Doolin at Nintendo Life. Atlas is celebrating Persona's 30th anniversary this year, and to get the party underway, it has now opened a special website. The Persona 30th anniversary portal includes an original illustration from character designer Shigenori Soejima, showing off faces from the franchise. Apart from this, there's a notice about how the, quote, next update will take place on January 8th, 2026, which is fast approaching or probably has already passed by the time you're watching this. You can also check out the official 30th anniversary website trailer, and there's an English version of this page on Sega's local site. The attached message here tells fans to, quote, stay tuned for more anniversary news. So I know of the 3 of these, Persona is probably our blindest spot. I've played a little bit of 3 and 4, but not a ton. Yeah. Certainly, I wouldn't consider myself a hardcore fan. But I appreciate it, I love the art. I really like what they're doing over there. I want to see what this is.
I personally, I hate admitting this, especially because we put ourselves in front of mics to talk about Nintendo all the time. I couldn't even tell you what we're doing in Persona.
Okay.
I don't even know what's going on over there. I just know there's a guy wearing a mask sometimes, and it seems like you're living everyday life, I think.
You are. Yep. You're going day by day. Usually going to school.
It was like Second Life anime.
It's not Second Life, but yeah, I get what you're saying. It's you are definitely moving through a calendar year and things happen.
Just doing your thing. You're like, there's no way. I failed my test.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think you kind of nailed the vibe, and that's fine. But again, this is another franchise I think that's kind of ripe for a new entry. Persona 5 came out in 2017. So I don't know. And maybe, at this point, what's interesting about these is I could see the lead platform for a Persona 6 being the Switch 2. Yeah. Not necessarily the PlayStation like it's been for so long. Like, I can see that being the one they really like promote with this. Yeah. And I think that's cool.
I think that would be cool. Yeah.
All right. Story number 4. Final Fantasy XIV Online Director reportedly hints at Nintendo release. Again, Liam Doolin at Nintendo Life. The Final Fantasy XIV Online Director, Yoshi-P, has spoken about bringing the popular MMORPG to Nintendo platforms on multiple occasions. During a New Year chat, he has now been asked once again about the possibility of this title coming to Switch systems and has reportedly told fans to, quote, please look forward to it. Yoshi-P has been talking about bringing Final Fantasy XIV Online to Nintendo platforms for a number of years now. In June 2024, he noted at the time how the game could potentially target Nintendo Switch's successor, which we now have. More recently, in August last year at Gamescom, he mentioned how his team and Nintendo had, quote, positive discussions about the possibility of a port. Keep in mind, there have been no official announcements at this stage for Nintendo platforms. Now, again, I don't always want to include, rumors and speculation in the news here, but while we've been seeing, bigger open world games come to Switch 2, this is an MMO. And we certainly don't have too much of that. Does that prospect interest you? I guess I don't think of you as an MMO guy.
No.
Have you played an MMO? Is that your shtick?
I'm not against it. Okay. It's just there hasn't been a ton that have really brought me in, but like I am trying to explore this space more. So like I'm very much more open to it than I ever had in our previous entry of Podcasting with Power. Way more open to these now. My attitude has changed completely. So whenever something cool comes across the plate, I do feel really enticed to check it out. Yeah.
Would you believe that this game was, I believe, around when we were recording the original? It was a couple years old at that point.
Yeah.
This was like a PS3 like mess, and then they fixed it, and now everybody loves it.
Right. And I think like that's why I feel like I had to I don't know what I said. Back then. You know what I mean? Yeah. It was probably like, no way, like blah blah blah. Why are we wasting our time? I don't feel that way anymore. So
well, thankfully we have a clip. No, we don't, but can you imagine?
Dude.
Okay. Story number 5 is unfortunately a sad one, but I wanted to include it. Vince Zampella, Respawn co-founder and head of Battlefield series, dead at 55. This is by Wesley LeBlanc at Game Informer. Vince Zampella, Respawn Entertainment co-founder and the head of EA's Battlefield series, has died at age 55. NBC Los Angeles reports that Zampella was killed in a car crash on Sunday, December 21st, on Southern California's Angeles Crest Freeway. The driver was pronounced dead on the scene, and the passenger later died in a hospital, though there's no confirmation of which of the two was Zampella. Zampella founded Respawn Entertainment in 2010 with Jason West, which has since launched games like Titanfall and Titanfall 2, Apex Legends, and the Star Wars Jedi series. Before that, Zampella was a lead at Call of Duty Modern Warfare maker Infinity Ward. EA acquired Respawn in 2017, and Zampella has been its CEO since. In 2021, Zampella became the head of Battlefield for EA amidst wider franchise changes that included the creation of a Battlefield universe. Zampella, alongside Battlefield Studios, helped make Battlefield 6 an inarguable success for the series, which wasn't in the best place following 2022's Battlefield 2042. So this was sad news that broke over the holidays. I was just thinking this recently, like Respawn is one of the coolest studios around right now. And Vince obviously was a huge part of that. The article doesn't even really mention, he helped bring us Medal of Honor in the 90s and then made Call of Duty what it was with Call of Duty, 1, 2, Modern Warfare, it feels like hit after hit, especially in the shooter space. I know you were a big fan of Battlefield 6. How did this news reach you?
Honestly, it was just a slew of Instagram articles.
Sure.
So no, it's very sad to see. Never good to see things like that. But like you were saying though, with the Medal of Honor stuff, I mean, it goes way back.
Yeah.
And it's pretty tremendous when you look at like the trajectory of how far we've come with that kind of game. So, with it's sad news. It's very sad news.
Yeah, I just wanted to be able to pay a little respect here to Mr. Vince Zampella and all that he's brought to the industry and to our lives here. I don't have any out this week of note. There's nothing really that caught my eye. So as I teased at the top here, it's really gonna be a celebration of Nintendo's 2025 today. So I thought I would start with a little recap. Just kind of going through. I've got a bunch of bullet points here, and see how we feel about this year as a whole. So before we go through month by month, I want to shout out some anniversaries that were taking place this year, and I'm curious. Well, as we go through, we can kind of see how much did Nintendo acknowledge these or not acknowledge these. So the Game & Watch, a whopping 45th anniversary for the Game & Watch. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. This is a company that has released 2 new Game & Watches in recent years, right? We had the Mario one and the Zelda one, and nothing for this guy.
Weird.
He couldn't give us ball or octopus.
Very weird.
Isn't it weird?
Yes. Yeah. Very weird.
You can get Game & Watch 3 icons in the Nintendo Switch Online app right now on your Switch, though. So there's that. Super Mario Bros. Of course, the 40th anniversary. We did get some stuff with that. I think maybe not Mario's best anniversary, in my opinion. But we did get some things. Ice Climber 40th as well. Not a mention of fucking Ice Climber.
Yeah, well,
which is fine. I hate Ice Climber, so that's okay.
Tons of them die every year.
Fire Emblem, the 35th anniversary of Fire Emblem. We did get a new game announced, which is kind of neat. For last time, for the 30th, we did get they re-released the original Famicom game with an English translation. It had a cool collector's edition. Nothing like that this year. Dr. Mario, 35. The Super Famicom, 35. And along with it, F-Zero and Pilot Wings. I think that's pretty cool. But of course, nothing for those guys. You see a pattern here. Yoshi turned 35, debuting in Super Mario World. And Yoshi's Island turned 30. That is a pretty cool game. And I wish we had gotten something. I guess we got Yoshi in the fucking book, right? the announcement of that, which will be played in a few months. Yeah. I don't know. I guess I shouldn't say what we played in a few months because I don't know that we personally will.
You can't. Can you imagine? We're gonna do another Metroid Prime style thing. You're gonna question me on Yoshi's fucking book.
I would do it.
Zach. Well, you see, blew through that one real quick.
Yeah. Game sucks. The Virtual Boy turned 30 this year, and somehow on this list, the Virtual Boy got the most substantial revival, it seems. Right?
Yeah.
There will be a physical plastic Virtual Boy headset at my house in a matter of months. I'll be able to play some of these games for the first time because I've never played any of them. But yeah, so happy 30th birthday to the Virtual Boy. And then a couple other ones to rattle through here. Waluigi turned 25. Mario Golf, Mario Tennis, I don't remember which, doesn't matter. Nintendogs turned 20. Xenoblade Chronicles turned 15. And Splatoon, which I don't think about, turned 10 this year.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Oh, yeah, 2015. Oh yeah. My God.
Yeah. So, and we did get a new Splatoon game kind of shadow announced. It's weird that they haven't really acknowledged that game anywhere else, but Splatoon Raiders will be out hopefully sometime next year. So let's break down the month here, and I promise this won't take too long. In January, we saw the release of Donkey Kong Country Returns HD on January 16th, which was also the day we got our first look at the Nintendo Switch 2 and a new Mario Kart, which now we know of as Mario Kart World, but at the time we didn't. Do you remember that day?
I do.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
That was a cool day. I was a big fan of that day. It was a good day.
I liked the way they did it, right? Like they showed us everything, but they didn't tell us anything.
Yeah.
They had they were, rubbing the Joy-Con on the table and stuff, and we saw Mario Kart and we saw the magnet, but they're not really giving us any detail. And that's kind of cool because it lets you kind of speculate and turned out that a lot of the things ended up being pretty cool. So
the Mario Kart World trailer, I was like, whoa.
Right. I mean, for it to be, 11 years since Mario Kart 8 originally on the Wii U, that kind of confirmed it was going to be a launch title. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite thing about the
that?
Mario Kart, my favorite thing about the Mario Kart World debut. Okay.
Yeah.
It's Mario Kart World. Okay.
Yeah.
And that was like heat of the tariffs happening. And I sent it to my boss because we'd been dealing with that, at work. And he was like, perfect, right on time. And I was like, because because you're traversing the world,
Sure. Yeah.
I'll always remember that.
I love that. February was relatively quiet for Nintendo. We did get a Pokemon Presents on February 27th, which, I'm thinking this year will probably be a little more substantial.
Oh, yeah.
It's strange. We had got 2 Pokemon Presents this year, which I'll get to the other one in a bit, but they ended up, I went through them. They were pretty similar. A lot of Legends EA as you'd expect, and then a lot of updates for the smaller games. Nothing too crazy out of those. But in March, we did, for Mario Day, which I have the wrong day listed, no major announcements, but we did get, sales, some cross promotion with Legos and the various Mario products that are out there. Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition released on the 20th. We did get a direct focused on Switch 1 games on the 27th. And I remember that one because I was so nervous that Metroid Prime was going to be there, because I thought, well, that must mean that it is just going to be a Switch 1 title. It's not going to be a Switch 2 title. It was there, and it ended up being a cross-gen title. Thank goodness. That also brought us virtual game cards, which I still don't even know if I understand completely. Do you get how these things work?
I just, what I will say is every time I put a new game in that thing and it does that like little,
it's fun.
So satisfying to me. Yeah. I don't know why. It happens. I'm like, like every time it makes that noise, I'm really into it. But yeah, I don't really understand it completely. Definitely.
Yeah. Apparently it would make it easier to share games digitally with like your family group and stuff, but I haven't really utilized that. So I don't know. And then the last thing that happened on March 27th, the Nintendo Today app released, which has just been a crazy little thorn in my side since. It's just every once in a while a story will break, and that's the only place you can find any information about it. So I have to fire that thing up. But we have, like I mentioned, the Splatoon Raiders announcement. We got that there. There have been some significant pieces of news on the Nintendo Today app. On April 2nd, we finally got our Nintendo Direct detailing the Switch 2. They gave us all the juicy deets. And then we got a dedicated Mario Kart World Direct on the 17th. It's funny that we weren't doing this show yet. As I was going through the stories, I'm like, why didn't we cover that? I'm like, because we didn't exist.
I know when we were summertime, right?
Yeah. Well, what's funny, so when I was editing our last episode, I realized that was 26, meaning we've done this for half a year. We're entering our second half of the year.
Wow.
Of Podcasting with Power. Yeah.
Happy 6 months.
Exactly. Yeah. So so April was a pretty big month as far as info. Again, I think this is probably when we started talking Switch. I feel like this is when the text messages started kind of flowing again, which ultimately led to this podcast.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's kind of cool. May, the Nintendo store in San Francisco opened. That's cool. If I ever go to San Francisco, I'll pay it a visit. And then June 5th, Nintendo Switch 2 releases alongside Mario Kart World and Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour. Remember that thing?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We don't talk about that one very much, unfortunately, even though it's $10. And then we did get a Donkey Kong Bonanza Direct on June 18th, which is what really sold me on the game. I feel like a lot of people were in initially and then, saw the Direct and were like, this isn't exactly what I want. I feel like I was the opposite. I wasn't entirely sure a 3D Donkey Kong was what I wanted over Mario or something like that. And the Bonanza Direct just, nailed it. And then in July 17th, Donkey Kong Bonanza comes out. On the 22nd, we have that second Pokemon Presents. Pokemon Friends releases that same day. That puzzle game that nobody talks about now.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever tried it. And then on July 31st, we got a Nintendo Direct partner showcase, which this was kind of the first in a series of of directs that all would just come one after another. And I feel like we had things we were all waiting for, right? Like my big thing was I wanted a Hollow Knight Silksong release date. And I thought, okay, partner direct. That makes sense. Then as we move into August 7th, Indie World Showcase. Okay, perfect. It's time. Nope, nothing. Then we'd have some subsequent things. But while we're here in August, on the 14th, Drag and Drive releases. And, this is another one that kind of came and went. And it bums me out because there is a fun game there. It's just, there's not enough variety. Obviously, it didn't take off. You need people to play it with. Bums me out a little bit. August 19th, we see the Kirby Air Riders Direct. Ton of info on Kirby Air Riders. And then on the 26th, Hello Mario releases. That little baby app with the blocks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was cool. September, though, we do finally get a full fat Nintendo Direct. And we got some doozies at that. We did cover that on the show. That was our first direct of this iteration of the show. And then, I had forgotten about this. September 24th, Fire Emblem Shadows releases. So this is a mobile game that just kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And I believe was not received very well. We've talked, we're not the biggest Fire Emblem guys already. But yeah, I don't believe the fan base liked this one very much.
Yeah, I don't like mobile games, man.
But now the releases start heating up. So in October 2nd, Super Mario Galaxy and Super Mario Galaxy 2 released for the Switch 1 and 2. On the 7th of October, we got the Close to You short. And we had no idea what it was. It was just a baby and some invisible little things.
Yeah, we're still kind of feeling weird about that, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah. So a couple days later, I forget how long it was, we did finally, get a version of it with the Pikmin in there. Right. And we saw that it was a Pikmin short. But yeah, still don't really know what to make of that, or if we'll see more of that kind of stuff.
They just slipped that thing out.
They did.
I still don't know.
I don't know
like we know that we don't know. No.
What are we doing here? October 16th, Pokemon Legends ZA releases. And then on October 23rd, a second Kirby Air Riders Direct happened, which is cool, but I probably didn't need to watch it,
Yeah.
November 6th, Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment releases. November 12th, the Super Mario Galaxy movie Direct, showing the first trailer for the film and revealing Bowser Jr. and Rosalina. Benny Safdie as Bowser Jr. and Brie Larson as Rosalina. I'm still hyped about that. I wish there was a little more info in that Direct, but it did get me hyped for the movie. Where are you at with the Mario movie?
I'm just kind of letting it just kind of wash out. I'm just like, I'm letting the news happen. I'm kind of the same thing I'm doing with the Zelda movie. I'm just letting it kind of go over my head, forgetting about it. And when it comes out, I'll be like, all right, nice. And I'm going to see it and be excited about it. That's where I'm at.
Okay. I like it.
Yeah.
Okay. And then November 18th, were you aware that following Hello Mario, there was a Hello Yoshi app that released, a separate app. No. And I assume separate blocks. I don't know.
I didn't look at this at all.
I kind of remember that, but yeah. I mean, again, we talked about it then. It's not for us. This is for literal infants. November 20th, Kirby Air Riders releases, and November 27th, Mario Balloon flies in Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. That's fun. Almost done. December 4th, Metroid Prime 4 releases. On December 11th, the 2025 Game Awards take place. Donkey Kong Bonanza wins Best Family Game, boo, and Mario Kart World wins Best Sports Racing Game. Okay. And then on December 31st, Doug Bowser officially steps down as president of Nintendo of America, with Devin Pritchard stepping into the role. So those are kind of the big, I stuck to first party Nintendo for this. I'm going to kind of ask you what you are going to grade Nintendo's year in a little bit, but looking, I know you have the list of game releases there in front of you and kind of hearing these events. Did you feel good as a Nintendo fan this year? Did you feel like they were speaking your language?
It was the year of the Switch too.
Sure.
And I liked that. I was really into that. That hype was back. I mean, that brought us back here again.
Yeah, definitely.
And I still love it. I still love my Switch 2. So I'm trying to like see through the hype goggles. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed the Switch 2. I really enjoyed some of the games we'll talk about. But no, man, it wasn't really the best. We got a couple of heavy hitters this year.
I agree.
And I feel good about that. But overall, I feel like we're in another... I feel like you're going to know exactly what I mean when I say this, but like another 2013.
Sure. Like there is stuff here that speaks to me. Some more than others, but yeah, it's not exactly what I'm looking for.
Right. And I feel like we were in, I mean, worse than this, if we're being honest with ourselves, but we were in a limbo like this, like 2012, 2013, 2014.
Yeah, a lot of the Wii U years. Yeah.
It was a drought for a while. And I don't think, I'm not going to go ahead and say we're in a drought right now. We got some really fantastic games this year, but no, it's not what I was really looking for. And because of that, am I giving my grade or should I wait?
I actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I think this is probably the time to give our grades, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, go ahead.
I went with a C+.
A C+. Okay.
Yeah.
I think I was a little higher than you. I gave it a B. Solid B.
So to be fair, I was going with B- at first.
Okay. I kind of hovered around that too. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway. So you were saying, so you went with a solid B. Okay.
Yeah, because I do think they did a solid job of launching a new console, which is always tricky. And I think when I look down this list of games that came out, we did really hit a lot of, there is a lot of variety here. And there are a lot of major Nintendo franchises here. Maybe not always in ways we want them to be. The biggest one, for me is Zelda. Hyrule Warriors, Age of Imprisonment. I like it, but it's not, Breath of the Wild or even Echoes of Wisdom, and to be fair, like we got Switch 2 either versions or updates for those games. So like that's present on the console. But in the case of like Echoes of Wisdom, I just played that last year. So I'm not itching to play that right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like Mario Galaxy 1 and 2, like cool, great games. Not the Mario games I want to play right now,
Right.
Kirby Air Ride. It's just like it's almost there. But I'm hoping they can really kind of give us some new stuff to really knock our socks off next year.
Yeah, and I think they will. I mean, like I don't want to be too optimistic, but I do feel like this year is going to be very good. I think we have a lot in store for this year, and coming into even 2027, I feel like there's a lot kind of floating right now that I feel pretty excited as a Nintendo fan coming into 2026.
No, I agree. I think just the first half of the year that we kind of know so far, it looks pretty good. But yeah, so I gave it a B because, like I said, I think there was plenty of stuff to play. I have played so much Switch 2 this year. I kind of realized that the other day. I love the console. I love the games that are on it. And sure, the Switch 1 catalog does a lot of that heavy lifting, but yeah, it's pretty cool. So I'm not going to run through all these because it'll take forever, but I did make a list of all of the Nintendo Switch Online editions this year. And because I feel like the perception, at least on Reddit and places like that, is that Nintendo is trickling these games out. They're not putting anything substantial on Switch Online. And I even kind of feel, guilty of that. But looking at the list, obviously GameCube has been a slow roll, but the games we've got have all been pretty good. They started with Soul Calibur and F-Zero and Wind Waker. We've gotten Luigi's Mansion, now Wario World, Chibi Robo. But even I look at stuff like Rayman 2, which is something I wanted to play. Fire Emblem: The Sacred Stones is on my list. Donkey Kong 94 on the Game Boy was early this year. I had forgotten about that. So I think they're doing a decent job and are keeping a decent pace with Switch Online. At some point, we will get those Nintendo 64 titles that we've been talking about forever.
Yeah.
The Super Smash Bros., the Donkey Kong, stuff like that. And more GameCube stuff. So I don't know. I feel like I have had plenty to play on my Switch. It's just not necessarily the top tier stuff I at least think that I want.
Yeah.
So, all right. Are we ready to talk about some of the best games that we feel came out this year?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll get to our highlights in a bit, but I made a couple of categories here, and we don't have to spend a ton of time on these. But the first thing I wanted to ask you about were the 2025 games we didn't get to play that we wanted to. So do you have any that come to mind?
So honestly, when it comes to things that I didn't get to play, my list is pretty small.
Okay.
Because truly, there just wasn't the things that I didn't play this year. I think I just wasn't as interested in.
Okay.
And I did list Air Riders as one of those titles.
Okay. Cool.
Because I think it looks interesting. We've talked about this a lot, so I won't go into it too much. But it looks interesting. It's fun, but it just wasn't something I was really super into. And outside of that, it's just Metroid Prime. That was something you and I talked quite a bit about. Yeah. And then everything else I felt like was just something else coming back that I've explored in the past.
I gotcha. Yeah.
So, we're talking beginning of the year, Donkey Kong Country Returns HD. Okay. Yeah. Mario Galaxy was never really that into Mario Galaxy to begin with. So there really wasn't a ton, Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. Like, I have an interest in kind of dabbling, but I would say if there's anything from this year, and obviously that one's one of the most recent ones, I think that would be the one that I would give the example of going back and checking that out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I noticed, because I included some of these on my list that aren't necessarily on Switch or Switch 2 yet. I hope they will be. Do you have anything maybe outside of the Nintendo sphere that caught your eye but you didn't have time for?
Yeah, actually. Silent Hill.
Okay, I have that as well. Yeah, Silent Hill F.
Yeah, F. Yep. I did pick up 2, the remake.
Yeah, that's a great game.
So I grabbed that on the Xbox, actually.
Okay.
And I'm pretty excited to play it, but I was looking at F as well. So Silent Hill 2 and F, I'm very interested in. And outside of that, dude, I think I did a pretty good job dabbling a little more than I usually do.
Okay.
So I don't really feel that I've missed out all that much this year.
Okay. Every game I wrote down are things I think could have made my top 10 list if I had actually, had a chance to play them. First up is South of Midnight, which is a game I watched Kali play all the way through on Xbox. Wow. It's coming to Switch this year. Okay. It's just such a cool little action game with an incredible, that stop motion art style. It's great. And just, it nails kind of that Southern mysticism and lore and kind of the whole vibe. I think it nails that. Blueprints is a game that I can never remember if it's on Switch or not. I don't believe it is. But this is like a puzzle roguelike where you are in a mansion, and every time you hit a door, you get to choose like one of 3 rooms. And you're trying to find this thing at the end. And I actually played a good amount of this game, and I fell off of it. I think something came out and I just, stopped playing it, but it's something I would like to go back to. And I do think it would make a good Switch 2 game if it were to come out there. Couple of indies, Absalom and Ball X Pit, both caught my eye. We've seen those in different directs and things like that. Octopath Traveler 0. You really sold me on that. I've been wanting to try these games forever, but the way you talked about them and then, especially this one, like, I don't know. I feel like it's time.
Oh, right. I love to hear that.
Dispatch, which will be coming to Switch pretty soon as well. You mentioned Silent Hill F, and then just out of sheer curiosity, because it is winning every award it can, Clair Obscur Expedition 33.
That's right. You were saying that last time that we spoke. Yep.
which is a game, again, I think could come to the Switch 2 in time. I know it's an indie team, and we'll see. But yeah, a lot of games I didn't feel like I got to play that I could see any one of these being on my list if they're, what I think they are. So, okay, the next fun little category I had for you here is the best old game you played in 2025. So, and I don't know how you approached this. I didn't include something that I had played before this year. Because, like, let's be real, the best old game I played in 2025 was probably Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
But I went with the original Hollow Knight, which I, again, had kind of dabbled in, but never really, played through. But I did want to shout out Citizen Sleeper, which is a game that I've mentioned on here before as well. Okay. What is the best old game you played in 2025, Jordan?
So mine is kind of odd, and I only put this because I went back to explore the differences, and we kind of spoke on this the first time that Dragon Quest came up.
Okay.
So I played quite a bit of the original Dragon Quest games and went back to kind of so I could compare and contrast that.
Yeah.
Because honestly, there's so much that happens, like even immediately in those games. Like I don't know if you played 3 and 4 or no. You haven't played these. You're looking into playing these. So these games always start out in a kind of a weird way, and I just won't say too much detail on that. But I couldn't remember, especially specifically 3 and 4. I couldn't remember how that kind of translated to the original game, so I went back and wanted to check it out. Okay. And it is like kind of brutal.
Okay, sure. I mean, yeah, they're NES games, man. They were hard.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even mean I didn't mean that, actually. I should be specific. I meant like the way it's almost like when you read something out of a book and what your mind goes to, where like some people might think of something just extremely like a little dark, and then you go into something more new. Well, like the old version of it, I feel like they had to do very specific things to convey what they meant.
Yeah.
And what they chose to do in those older entries is like pretty funny in some cases. So I don't want to say it's like the best, best game I've went back and played. But when I was thinking about this, I felt like this is what I wanted to mention because they were doing so much with so little. I mean, as did most of those RPGs. So it was just something that stood out to me and I thought was interesting. It is not for the faint of heart, though. Playing through a game so intricate with such little going on. Yeah. But because of the new one breathing so much life into it, it was really interesting to see like, oh, is this kind of what they were thinking? Like, this is what they had in their head. Sure. You know what I mean? So that's what I wanted to mention for these. Okay.
Well, I love that. Our next category here is the most impressive port on either Switch 1 or 2. Did you have anything that really qualified for this? And if so, what was it?
I did.
Okay.
But it's kind of lame, but it was worth mentioning because I feel like it was such a stretch. But I put Mario Paint.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. I went a little bit in a different direction. And I think there are other places to go that would be well deserved, but what a weird, like, I appreciated that so much, not because you can get so many hours out of Mario Paint, but because they brought back something with a new functionality in the Switch 2.
Yeah, it took some effort. Yeah.
That somebody was thinking about, and they were like, in like, way to bring back some of that old Nintendo thinking, you know what I mean? Like just what they used to do, those weird things that we all just thought was so normal because that's just what they did. Maybe they didn't. Maybe that's not how our parents or whomever felt when that came out, whatever. But what a weird thing to bring back and port over into the Nintendo Switch. Like how cool of them to do that. So, I sunk hours into that as a kid, and I had a lot of fun going back to it. And I was just very grateful that it happened in the first place, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's cool that they made it happen. It's not a year ago, you know, I would have never imagined we'd have that on there.
No.
Now we
Yeah.
do. That's cool. I put down Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 on the Switch too.
Oh.
I was very impressed with that version of the game. You know, I played it originally on the Switch too, and then I did boot it up on the Xbox and Game Pass, and yeah, the fidelity of that's better. But like it's so good on the Switch too. It's impressive. I legitimately was impressed. I did want to give a little shout out to Pokemon Violet, which was a game I had always avoided because of the performance.
Yeah.
And you know, now that it's on Switch 2, it runs great, and I really enjoyed it. I wish I had played it before, you know, warts and all, but
Yeah.
you know, I'm glad I finally did. So okay, we're at that point. The game of the year conversation here.
Man.
I know you have some games you want to discuss. I have a list of games here. How do we want to do this? Do you want to go first?
I'd like to hear what you have to say.
Okay, all right. So I'm going to go down my list. Most of these are Switch and Switch 2 games. A couple aren't, and I won't spend a ton of time on those. But and I will say, you know, some of these I have talked about on this show because that's what we do. But okay, number 10, Ninja Gaiden Ragebound. This is one that really impressed me. And I liked it. I feel like I expected a little more from it, which bums me out. Oh, you know what I didn't mention? Games I wish I had played was Shinobi.
Oh yeah,
I didn't mention that. I was really wanting to play that. I forgot that one. But anyway, Ninja Gaiden Ragebound was so cool, and that it really does take you back to like that NES hard, like, you know, it's pretty unforgiving. Like it requires you to get good at it, and you know, and I do enjoy that from time to time. But it does structure it in a way that makes it fair and it's engaging, and you know, they're always kind of mixing up the different things they're throwing at you. So I enjoyed that one. Kind of in a similar classic vein. Number 9, I have Marvel Cosmic Invasion. This was a pretty late release in the year, but it is like the best spiritual successor to your, you know, X-Men arcade. Like, and I think what it does, the way it combines both that kind of classic 90s Marvel with the MCU and kind of the Marvel we know now. I don't know. I don't always love these kinds of games, or I certainly don't stick with these kinds of games. But this one, it nailed it. I felt like the bosses were all very fun. I love that in several cases you are fighting the boss. Some of the bosses are unlockable characters. Yeah. So you're fighting them, and then you unlock them, and they are using the same moves that they used on you. You know, like, and I thought that was pretty cool. So I do recommend that if you're just kind of an arcade beat 'em up fan, or certainly a Marvel fan. Number 8, this might surprise you, but it is Metroid Prime 4 Beyond.
I'm not surprised.
You know,
I got you.
Yeah. When I wrote it down at 8, I was like, oh, okay, you know, but yeah, that's where it lands for me. I still really like it. I rolled credits on almost 40 games this year. So the fact that Metroid Prime 4 is sitting here at number 8, I don't think that's too shabby. Yeah, we've talked that to death. It's a fun action game. It's not the Metroidvania I want it to be. But I don't know that Nintendo is interested in that right now. But it's a great showcase for what the Switch and Switch 2 can do. And I do highly recommend it. Number 7 is Keeper, which is kind of that, you know, Play Dead, Limbo, Inside inspired game from Double Fine, where you are a sentient lighthouse and you have a little bird companion. And it's just beautiful artistry, and it's weird, and you know, I love traversing through that. Number 6 was Split Fiction, which, you know, I love these multiplayer games from Hazelight. And this one, so when Colleen and I played It Takes Two, I feel like she had a little bit more trouble with the platforming in that one. And this seemed to remedy all of that. She didn't really have those same issues. I think it just was more intuitive in a way that made it kind of more fun for us because it just kept the flow, you know? We didn't have kind of those moments where one of us would get stuck like we did in that one. So yeah, shout out to Split Fiction. Number 5, Pokemon Legends ZA. I was thoroughly impressed with Pokemon Legends ZA. You know, after being kind of out of the Pokemon game for a little while, played Violet, like I mentioned, and we got into this one. And yeah, I love it. I love that they mixed up the battle system. I didn't mind the smaller map. I kind of got used to it as we went. I did feel like there was a lot of variety in the way you battle and catch Pokemon and all of that stuff. I thought it told a fun story. Not a fan of the DLC, but we're not grading it based on the DLC here. Number 4 is Ghost of Yote, which I won't spend a ton of time on, but just huge open world, beautiful, beautiful game. I think it improves. It's funny. It improves on just about everything of Ghost of Tsushima, but for some reason, I'm not as impressed with it. You know, it's kind of like, oh, we did that. And yeah, it's better, but I feel like where Ghost really shocked me, or surprised me, rather, when it came out, Yote just doesn't ever have those moments, even though I kind of respect it for being the solid game that it is. Number 3 is Doom, The Dark Ages. Another one that I think will be on Switch, you know, soon. I loved Doom Dark Ages. I think the Doom and like the medieval aesthetic they merge so well. Yeah. You know, it nails that vibe, and everything you want to happen. You want a cool fire breathing dragon, cool. It's there. You're taking out tons of demons with it, and you know, swords and all sorts of stuff. It's great. Number 2. Now, I should have asked you before what you thought maybe my top game would be. But number 2 is going to be Donkey Kong Bonanza. All right. I love Donkey Kong Bonanza. I love it. I think it's one of the best.
Dude, as you're going through it, I'm like, he hasn't mentioned Donkey Kong yet. I was like, is it his number 1?
I mean, you know, it almost was. And I do truly stand by what I said when we reviewed it. I think it's one of the best games Nintendo has ever worked on. I really do. Again, it's one where, you know, we got to not count the DLC with this one. I didn't love the DLC. But, man, it just moment to moment, the exploring those worlds, breaking through stuff, finding all the secrets, it absolutely scratched the Mario Odyssey itch. You know, not exactly the same ways. Like I said, it was kind of surprising to me how much I enjoyed it. But yeah, I think they nailed it, and I would love to see them follow this one up in a few years. But my game of the year is the game that I have spent nearly 40 hours playing since we last podcasted, and that is Hollow Knight Silksong.
All right.
I love Hollow Knight Silksong. Oh my god. It's kicking my ass. All right.
Oh,
I'm not done with it.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm not done with it. But
so hard, man.
Yeah, I'm right there at the end of Act 2, and man, I love it. Like, it doesn't matter. I've been stuck on the same spot now for like 3 days, and like, it doesn't matter. I just keep trying it because I have fun with the variety. It does a lot of things better than Hollow Knight, I feel like. Enemy variety is a big one, which is kind of the problem with where I'm at right now, is they are throwing so many different kinds of enemies, all with different attack patterns at me, that it's hard to keep up with. But it does that. Traversal is great. I love the different crests have like the different pogos, like, you know, the diagonal, but then also the straight down, and then whatever the beast one is, where you're leaping around like a wild animal. That's crazy. Yeah, I love Hollow Knight Silksong in every single way. It's a gorgeous looking game. I love the art style. I love the music. Yeah, I'm really glad I finally, you know, picked up and played through Hollow Knight, and I'm glad I gave this one the time of day.
Well, fuck
so yeah,
dude.
That is my list.
That's a robust list. Okay.
Yeah, I know. I kind of got in there.
That you got in there. You really did. And yeah. I feel like, because I see when we were talking, I didn't number mine. So I feel like I can go through them, but I'm going to be figuring it out as I go.
That's fine. Yeah. Yeah.
So I have to, and there's a couple of them that I wanted to mention because some of them were in early access in 2024, but didn't have a full release till 2025.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I think there were two that technically released in 2024, but didn't come to, what was it? One of them didn't come out on console till 2025.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
Like there's a couple of those in there that I wanted to mention though, because I feel like having some of these games like released to the masses, I feel like I'm going to count that when it was released to me.
I think that's fine. I get that.
Okay. So I'm going to have to start at my number one.
Okay,
because
let's hear it.
I cannot work backwards.
Okay. I know that was weird reading that upside down like that.
And I feel like I want to give a Nintendo title as my number one.
Okay. So
I'm going to do that.
All right. Dragon Drive. Congratulations.
And then the only other thing I think to mention on this list is I have titles on here that I had to look outside of my own taste, but I felt like had to be on here.
Okay. Kind of defined the year.
Yeah, define the year a little bit more. I don't want to give you all the answers that are super expected of me, but like rather take into consideration things that deserve a spot to be here. You know what I mean?
Okay, sure. Yeah.
And obviously for Nintendo, we don't have a whole lot here. We have a couple. And they're all on my list. Well, actually, no, there's one that's not on my list. I did leave out Metroid Prime 4.
Well, that's fine. I understand.
I get it. I understand.
I do. I'm a Metroid sicko. I get that, but not everybody is, and it didn't splash as hard as I wanted it to. So
my number one the number one game that I put in my spot for Nintendo this year was Legends EA.
Okay. I had a feeling. I did.
The reason that I did was because I feel like you're the same way, but if my bar starts out low, you're not getting my bar up.
Okay.
Like I'm going to go in and it's going to stay down. It's hard to like come out of that for me to go in expecting something.
Yeah.
In basically just Dante's Inferno yourself back up to, good graces. So I put ZA because it did exactly that. I felt like I only had more fun as the game progressed, which I know is a little bit normal. Yeah. But it kept impressing me in small, different ways. And it reaffirmed to me that Pokemon is headed in a good direction because Scarlet and Violet, man, oh man, like I had fun playing them, but like it really buried me in terms of where I thought Pokemon was going at the time. So ZA brought back an expectation. And again, I know that there's a lot to say. There's a lot of negative there. And I'm not going to say that I'm just ignoring that and that it was just okay. But with something so substantial as the Switch 2, and they wanted people to like knowing the tariff was going to cause a problem and we were going to have a shortage and blah, blah, blah. I feel like the right thing to do was to split that between two consoles. So we had some hardware limitations and, it just kind of was what it was. So, but I felt like ZA though, it was a fantastic game. Really had a great time playing it. And yeah, I think as far as Nintendo releases, it's got to be at the top of my list just because of how I felt playing it.
Oh, I feel that. I was very impressed with that game. It was a great pick.
It was a good pick. Number 2, I put Donkey Kong Bonanza. Okay. Which I'm not bummed about. I really enjoyed it. I think both of us really did. It was fun to kind of go back and forth on, where we were at, what we were doing, and the diversity of the worlds, destructible environments, like everything that went into that game. It was very cool. It was very different. And it was really probably one of the peaks of summertime for me, was playing that game this year. And really enjoying it. So what they're doing with Donkey Kong, something fresh out of the box. It's, a new experience for us. It's not just that same old thing we kind of keep doing with Donkey Kong. As far as Nintendo goes, it's definitely among the top of what's been put out this year.
Yeah, it's funny with how much new was in that game. It felt authentically Donkey Kong. Mm-hmm. Nothing really felt like it didn't fit the vibe. So yeah, I love it.
And clearly, I also should have said this. I'm going through my Nintendo picks first.
Sure. Yeah.
Number 3, I put Mario Kart World.
Okay.
I had to do it. I love the fresh take. It's a new way to approach Mario Kart, which I very much enjoy. Mm-hmm. I like the different modes. It's the first time in first time ever exploring that many different modes. I mean, I'm not talking mirror mode, like that kind of stuff. We're talking the world tour. Like that is very cool.
And having all the different little challenges and things in there. Yeah, there's a lot of variety.
Yeah, free roam. You can go around and free roam. Like, we have a lot of new content here, and we can all kind of, everybody knows that the Mario Kart, what would you call it? Just how Mario Kart has been for so long. It's been the same. It's very stagnant. We haven't moved forward with Mario Kart. And whether or not the Switch 2 was a place to do it, we decided that it was. Nintendo decided that it was, and decided to have a different take on it. So everything that they did there, I can tell we're thinking a little bit more interesting when it comes to Mario Kart, and I'm happy to see that and where we're headed. And I also just sunk hours into that game, so I loved it. I thought it was a fantastic release title, so it had to be on the list. And as far as Nintendo titles go, that is all I have. I have more games, but they are not Nintendo titles.
I think it's reasonable. I mean, I only have 3 on my list. Mario Kart would have been 11, I think. But yeah, no, I think that's fair. What else caught your eye this year?
So the next up, I did put Hollow Knight. Okay. Just because I took myself to class on that a little bit and learned a little bit about what went into that. So revisiting the older titles, that's something that I would like to do. And like yourself, was incredibly frustrated as I was playing through that game, man. Oh my God.
It doesn't let up.
It doesn't let up. It's almost like it's like a nice Cuphead. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah, sure.
Like Cuphead's just a dick, but I feel like Hollow Knight's very much like you're comfortable. You're just comfortable, and it's very calming. And I feel like they almost do that. They're like, keep the blood pressure down until we got to make them fight this giant armored caterpillar. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, but no, I really enjoyed Hollow Knight, so I feel like it's got to be on the list.
Love it.
Next. This is one of the early access that I put on here, but I know it was very much awaited. But the Hades 2.
Okay. Yeah. I want to get into Hades. I think I would really like that.
Yeah, I think you would, especially with how much you like Doom.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Because it's very much I feel like it's in that same family. You know what I mean? Of that aggressive, fast-paced combat type situation.
Okay.
And I've dabbled a little bit with just Hades. I have not screwed around with a second entry, but I know a lot of people were really waiting for that. I know it was a big conversation for Game of the Year, but I wanted that to be included on the list.
Okay.
Next one that I have here is, if I can find where my list was. So I mentioned Black Myth Wukong.
Okay.
Which did release August 2024. Okay. But it was an exclusive. So coming over, it made its way over to Xbox in 2025. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And that was kind of a big deal. I feel like it's the same kind of situation that we're seeing. Oh my gosh. Games that you really like. You were just playing through the newer one. Ghosts of Tsushima.
Yeah,
PC.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool to see games like that getting away from their exclusive console.
Yeah. Opening the audience up a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, Black Myth was available on PC, I think, at launch. But notably moving over to Xbox, I think was really cool.
Yeah.
And doing it a year later, which I know was in the cards, but I mean, I don't know. I thought that was great. I had a lot of other people in my life that were excited about that. So they finally got to play it. So it was kind of a new thing for them and something that we got to talk about.
Yeah.
So I was pretty pumped on that. I'm trying to remember the last game that did that I was really into. I think it was something Tokyo. So it was like this weird
Ghostwire Tokyo. Yeah.
Ghostwire Tokyo. They did that whole like wait a year, it'll be out on the, which is such a weird move, especially for that game, because I feel like that didn't end up being like this crazy game. Like nobody loved there was a big move for them when they didn't even really establish their fan base yet.
Right.
But Black Myth was just insane. Did you ever play that by any chance?
No, I didn't. I've heard good things. We have a mutual friend who talked to me about it a little bit. I think last year. It's one of those that I'd like to check out. It's those kind of pure action games like that are not always my bread and butter because I'm not very good at them. But
well, the reason I ask is because the commonality of us being very into Dragon Ball.
Okay.
It's very much based on the Journey to the West story, which was very cool. So definitely check that out.
Okay.
But it's something that I wanted to mention. And honestly, those are the biggest things that came to mind. I feel like for as far as Nintendo goes, like I was kind of alluding to in the first explanation, like I didn't have a whole lot that really hit close to home this year. I did very much enjoy the things that Nintendo gave to us. I'd say probably for the most part, being able to say 3 big titles were released this year. 4 if you count Metroid, which I think it has its place and I think it's warranted. But I mean that's nothing to ignore for certain. I'm just hoping that next year we have a little bit more to talk about, because I feel like even 2024 I feel like had more notable things as far as Nintendo's concerned to talk about. So
yeah, like when I look at mine, like for me, I think Hollow Knight, Silksong's an all-timer. I think Donkey Kong's an all-timer, and the rest, I had a great time with. I love all of these games, but I don't know how much I'm going to be thinking about, any one of them in particular in a couple of years. Who knows? I definitely included some games here that are not on Switch, but looking at it, there's 3 of them. The other 7 all on either Switch 1 or 2 or both. Yeah. So I think as far as Nintendo year, like you said, I think there is a lot here. And I think that is, so we didn't talk about it when we were giving our grades, but I think one of the things I appreciated from Nintendo this year is I think with the Switch 2 and just their partnerships in general, I think they've really opened the door to getting great third parties on both Switches. Mm. And I think this year was a good showcase of that. Yeah. And I hope we keep that going.
I do too. I mean, the only other non-Nintendo game that I think is worth bringing up is Arc Raiders.
Yeah. You were telling me about tell us a little bit about Arc Raiders.
Man, I've been obsessed, and I would love to see Arc Raiders come to the Switch, man. That would just be so cool. Because it totally could, I think. Playing online, you could play in a more of a lower fidelity, but I think it could handle it. But no, it's a PvP, so you cannot play this game alone. You're always with other people. Prox chat, which we love. Super funny. And essentially there's this large world. As you play and level up, you gain access to other drop points around this world. Each area of that world exposes you to different types of materials, but you're very much a scrapper. And what this reminds me of the most, and I swear, and maybe this is something that's well known, I don't know, could be late to the party, but it feels like it's inspired by like Rey from Star Wars, from the planet she comes from.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah.
Where she's like out scavenging and then selling it for credits.
Yeah.
Like 4-quarter portions.
Yeah. Simon Pegg won't give her that weird bread.
And so yeah, you hit these maps, you're scrapping for different materials, and you'll kind of come across blueprints and things like that to show you maybe what types of loot that you're looking for, so that you can start to level up your weapons and craft.
Yeah.
And go. But the thing about it is, with the prox chat, so if you're talking to your buddies and you're not in Teams chat, everyone just hears you. So like you'll hear people coming around the corner and they're like, yeah, man, so blah, blah, blah. And, and they're like, oh, man. That. And the community of people playing, I would say anytime before 11 p.m. Is really solid.
Like after 11 though.
Dude, after 11, it's just betrayal on betrayal, man. You got no chance, especially if you're running solo, which I've been doing quite a bit.
Yeah.
If you're like, hey, I'm friendly, just looking for some olives, brother. So like, most people are like, cool, man. Yeah, me too. Hey, by the way, have you seen any like that? And you'll be like, oh no, I know I haven't. Like it's really, really solid. And then I've had guys just drop me blueprints and be like, hey man, I found another one of these. You probably want it if you don't have it. I'm like, cool. But dude, after 11 p.m. on the weekends, especially, it's like, people will be like, oh, I'm friendly. And you're like, okay. And then you walk away and it looks like, steal all your stuff.
Well, I will say, when you were explaining Arc Raiders to me the other day, this to me seems like the most jazzed you've been about a game this year. Would you say this is the game you've had the most fun with this past year?
Yeah, it's definitely the game I've had the most fun with. The reason that I didn't want to put it as like a number one spot is like it's still really fresh. It came out tough, right before Halloween, and I only really got into it about a week ago. But honestly, my attention span for non-Nintendo has been very small, so I am pretty impressed that this game has retained so much of my time. Up until here, and I can tell I'm not done yet. I've already recruited some other folks to join me. The only thing that is a bummer, man, is that you're in squads of 3. They don't do quads.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So you can only, if you want to boot in with people, you can only have a group of 3 people. And they kind of claim it's like to keep that, they don't want people being ganged up on. It's like keeping the maps were taken into account like smaller groups kind of moving around together.
But I remember from my Destiny days, like that was always a thing, right? We'd have at a point there were 4 of us friends that were all playing that. It would be like this weird, like, well, like you got to sit out, Derek. Like you can't, you can't go on the mission with us. Like, sorry.
I know I've had a couple of those because like most games you can play in 4s.
Yeah.
So I've had a couple of times where I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'm sitting this one out. I'm going solo,
That's cool. Shout out to Arc Raiders. Do you think feasibly that could run on the Switch too?
I do. I actually do.
Okay.
I think it would be something that absolutely could happen. Because when you run it in lower graphic, like there's really not a lot to it. As long as we had the online situation kind of locked down. Wondering maybe if it would have to be a Switch 2 situation, not just a Switch 1.
I imagine so, from what I've seen of it. Yeah.
But I think on the Switch 2, I don't think you'd have a problem with it. And I mean, what a cool way to finally use like the mic and stuff, for Switch. So I'd like to see it. Cool.
Well, yeah. So I mean, shout out to all those games we mentioned. The Hollow Knights, the Pokemons, the Arc Raiders of the world. Let us know in the comments what your favorite games of 2025 were, whether they were on Switch or Switch 2 or something else. We'd love to hear it. We always love the feedback and hearing what you guys are playing out there. If you're liking what we're doing here on Podcasting with Power, hit that subscribe button. Follow us on social media at Pod with Power. Until next time, I'm Zachary Davis. That's Jordan Carlson. Have a good night.
Night.
Bye.
Bye.